A library building was constructed on this site in the 60s, and it was a small red brick building, and towards the end of the 20th century it became apparent that neither the space nor the technology was suitable for what we now needed as a modern library. When you contemplate projects such as this, if you want to do anything more than the stock standard institutional building, then I think you need to involve the community in the project at the very earliest opportunity. You need to understand what the aspirations are of the community and where are they on their understanding of what you're trying to do. If you start the journey with the support of your community, then you won't have any problems as you proceed through that journey. If you don't, if you simply say, we'll build something and hope to goodness they like it, then I think you're setting yourself up for failure. The community had to decide two things. One, did they accept that the existing facilities were inadequate? And the other is, did they have an appetite for what was going to be a substantial expenditure? When this project was contemplated, we initially talked about budgets in the order of $6 to $8 million. When the project was completed, it was somewhere in the order of $15 or $16 million. The three communities were polled and they were asked two things. One, did they support the idea of replacing the existing building in some form? And two, what level of expenditure could they contemplate as being reasonable for such a project? The answer coming back from our three communities was yes, we do need a new facility. Two, cost wasn't an issue. But most importantly was that the residents wanted a large commitment to environmental sustainability. My initial thought was that, well, that's fine, we'd build a building and put on some PV cells and that would satisfy the world. It became increasingly apparent that that's not what was going to satisfy the world where we were on this project. So we then started looking at it differently and began to look at every aspect of environmental sustainability that we could possibly incorporate into a public building. Originally we went out for expressions of interest from 3 architects. 2 produced what I would call stock standard institutional buildings. The Cox Group produced this building. It was designed by a fellow called Christian Wetchen, the architect, and there are elements of the building which are intended to identify with the 3 communities. So, on the northern side of the building you can see a decorative treatment which is intended to reflect waves associated with the Cottesloe Shire. The green tinting of this building is intended to reflect the peppermintgrove trees, and if you look on the textures on the ends of the building, that's intended to reflect Mosman Park, which is my shire. But more importantly, they produced a design which really was a very exciting building. So exciting from an appearance point of view that we really wondered whether we could possibly afford to build it. The building in its format, as you've seen, consists of the library. This, where we're sitting now, is the Shire office for the Shire of Peppermintgrove. So the addition of the community spaces was critically important to allow for many activities that previously existed in lots of different halls and spaces around the 3 districts. The community hall, the community facilities, was intended to accommodate as many different organisations and groups as we possibly could. But the building was designed such that it had a multi-function purpose. So, for example, in the community spaces there's a cooking range, and so we have cooking demonstrations and lectures and all sorts of activities. So it was a hugely beneficial facility. This building is open 7 days a week, and we have huge groups of young kids studying, socialising in the building. We have a play area for young children, story time area down in the western end of the building. One of the really important parts of the library was the addition of a coffee shop, a cafe, again intended to enhance the social aspect. The idea, for example, of the wind turbines was to show that you could actually install wind turbines in an urban area, and it doesn't mean that they have to be very large things that, noisy. They operate out there silently and they generate power. So the ethos of the building is demonstrate and educate, which you'd say is very appropriate for a library. So the library works well, and we think that's a huge success.
We got involved with the wind turbine project for Peppermint Grove Library with Cox Bailey. They wanted a different type of technology, renewable technology in the project, and wind turbines were determined to be one of the better ones to go. How the wind turbines help with the energy savings for the building. They're not a standalone product that will produce enough energy to run the building by any means, but they actually contribute towards it. And one of the solutions with the wind turbine is they can produce power at night time as well. As you can probably see at the moment, they are fairly stationary. It's the general rule though, at about 12 metres per second or 40 kilometres per hour, these will be producing about 1 kilowatt hour of energy per hour. So we had to start from the ground, engineer the hole, put a large concrete footing in there, let that set and cure over a period of a few weeks. And then as they built the wetlands and the decking around it, then we could put the wind turbine on top. So we had to have road closures. We had large trucks turn up with a crane, lifted these on top and basically erected it over pretty much about an 8-hour period. The advice I'd give somebody considering wind turbines for their own house or a commercial building would really be do the analysis of the wind data at that site for at least 12 months to determine how much wind's there. Then once you've determined that, then you can size the wind turbine to that site. That's probably the best way to go to get you the best value for money. This entire project has represented a step forward, I think, in a joint effort on sustainability. So where the Shire, the developers, the engineers, everybody's come together to basically put together a showcase, and it goes right through from the wetlands, the solar, the wind turbines, everything contributes towards one big core effort, and that's, I think, that the key thing here is the team effort of everybody involved. And if we all can put our like minds together and work together, we can achieve great things.
Electricity and gas costs are on the rise, and opening that bill each quarter can make us gasp. But as competition increases, suppliers are offering better and better deals, and finding a cheaper tariff will free up money you can invest in other power-saving improvements. But how do you get started? First, get out those electricity and gas bills and start comparing different energy offers. There are a number of websites out there that offer price comparisons but may charge a commission. We recommend you use your local government sites, including Australian Energy Regulator, the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, or state-based regulators such as www.switchon.vic.gov.au. Once you're in the site, it only takes a few moments to enter your location and consumption over 12 months, and the website immediately gives you retail options. Also, there's strength in numbers, so team up with your other centres in your area and maybe get a bulk discount. But before you make any switch, get in writing the details of the energy deal and read the fine print in the contracts before you sign up. Also ask your current supplier if they would be willing to match any new deals you find. They usually want to keep your business. Finally, check the Energy Made Easy website to learn about your consumer rights. Then, if the new deal just seems to be the bee's knees, the new company will handle the changeover and notify your old provider. Just be aware there may be a transfer or termination of contract charge, and remember to calculate that into your cost savings. From that moment, you still have 10 days after signing contracts to change your mind. All these facts and much more can be found at our website, www.agreenhouse.net.au. So enjoy your energy shopping and thinking about what you can spend that extra cash on.
The are so many ways to be green. I've been hearing so much about it. I want to be in on the scene. So tell me where it's happening. Just around the corner is where it's all happening. In a greenhouse around the corner, finding energy solutions. Just around the corner is where it's all happening.